So we're joined up here in the booth by Dana Allison, one of the two Hall of Fame inductees. Dana, thanks for joining us here.
Thank you very much.
So, you played here a little while ago. What's it like to, come back?
Well, I still live here.
Yeah.
Of course, the stadium has changed. It's a big difference from 33 years ago. But the field's the same. Fans are the same. It's home, my hometown. So.
Yeah, you played here. You got to come back. You went to JMU, but in the summer you got to come back and really help lead this team to a Valley League title as there's a swing and a miss for strike two.
Absolutely. 1986, my freshman year at JMU, after my freshman year, came back and was actually supposed to be a teammate with Roberto Hernandez, but Roberto got drafted in the first round, so he never played a game with us in '86. But that '86 team, head coached by Gary Gilmore, is a special group. A lot of hard-nosed baseball players just went out and played. So it was a great year for us. For
sure, and that was the first Title IV Front Royal. As there's a 1-2 count here at the plate. I went to a little dribbler to the second baseman, Hennett. They'll turn two, and they got him. The 4-6-3 double play to put two away here. But you got to see Roberto again. Did you ever see him when he came in, when he pitched here?
Well, I have a funny story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, 1985. Roberto was here for his first year with the Cardinals. Before the season started, a couple scouts were in town and wanted to see me throw. So I came down to the stadium. Roberto was the only catcher here for the Cardinals, a catcher. So he was catching me. So I was throwing for the scouts. Then the scouts wanted to see him throw. So another player from the Cardinals called him. And as I tell the story, I had my back to him throwing. And all you heard was a swoosh and then a crack of the mitt. And I turned around and immediately, I didn't need a radar gun to tell me that was 90 plus. And that was the actual first time I met Roberto and actually witnessed my first 90 plus fastball. And then throughout the minor league system, we saw each other in South Bend and in Vancouver and a couple other places.
Yeah, Roberto, a catcher when he first arrived here.
Absolutely.
And transitioned into this major league pitcher.
He was he could throw it. I mean, he was a good catcher too. He had a great home to second time. But when he was on the mound, the ball was just live and it was just heavy. He was, and of course, 17-year big league career. Wow, that's.
The 1-2 there was grounded to the third baseman Bell. He threw it over to the first baseman Leisenring, who couldn't pick it out of the dirt. So a runner on first for Harrisonburg here in the second. But yeah.
So that started a friendship back in '85 that has blossomed to this day, and of course it's been 27 years since I've seen Roberto. Great seeing him here. Oh my gosh, we've done a lot of talking baseball since he's come back. Of course, this is all new to him too. This stadium was not this way when he was here.
No.
So
familiar face out there in left field is Jose, his son.
Absolutely.
Out there getting to play for the Cardinals.
That is
summer.
awesome. Awesome.
Then you got drafted yourself.
Yes.
With the Athletics.
Yes. I was actually drafted by the Dodgers after my junior year of college, and ended up going back for my senior year at JMU, and then was drafted again after my senior year by the A's, and signed, and then made my way up in 1991. I made my major league debut, and I wouldn't change anything. I had a great career. Of course, it all starts right here. Actually, it all starts right behind that scoreboard at the Little League Park. That's where I played Little League. So,
yeah. What do you remember from that 1991 day where you made your major league debut?
Just got caught up in the wow of it. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, it was overwhelming. Luckily, I didn't throw in the first game. I don't know if I could have threw a pitch that first game. And things settled down and calmed down, and it just got back to being baseball. You know, it was kind of like I'm in here with the Bash brothers, Dave Stewart, Ricky Henderson. Ricky's getting ready to steal the record-stealing base that year. So there's a lot of hoopla, like old players like Reggie Jackson, Lou Brock were around the A's at the time. So just the history and the aura of being in the big leagues was a lot.
Yeah, that last pitch there was gloved by Leisering at first. He took it himself to end the inning. But we'll stay here and we'll have a little chat here between innings. So, as you said, your major league debut. And
yes.
When was the first time you threw in the big leagues?
April, early April, and it was against Seattle. And Harold Reynolds hit a line drive off my leg. So I remember very well.
How'd that feel?
Not very good. But like I said, I got my first strikeout in front of my family and hometown in Baltimore. We were playing in the old Memorial Stadium the last year, and my first strikeout was against Dwight Evans. So that was pretty special. Yeah.
Who was the hardest batter you ever faced? That was the hardest.
I'd have to be in
there.
spring training. We were in Arizona for our spring training, so that would have to be Tony Gwynn. We would scrimmage to play spring training games against the Padres, and even though he's a left-hand hitter, he was a hitter. Absolutely.
Did you ever get him out?
Not that I remember. Like I said, you throwing to Tony Gwynn, you just want to throw. You just want to throw strikes. But of course, I faced guys like Ken Griffey Jr., Sammy Sosa, some big names. So it was interesting. It was good.
Yeah, but before you got to the major leagues, you had to work your way up. What was sort of just like the grind of the minor league system just to get up there?
The grind is like I like to tell a lot of people that when you come here, it's similar because you're playing every day. You play 144 games in about 155 days. So there's not many days off. And you're traveling in the Southern League is all by bus. That's AA. In AAA, you mainly travel by plane, but it's a grind. The money's not. You're not playing it for the money. The money's not like it is in the big leagues. So it's all about, it's a mental grind. Everybody that signs that signs a professional contract has the physical ability. They call it 90-10, like 10% physical, 90% mental. And if you can accomplish,
As Bella sends that one right back at
Nice
Ferris
play.
off his glove, and he'll make the throw to first for the first out of the third inning.
Yeah, so if you can accomplish 75% of that 90, you're going to be pretty successful. But that 75% is hard to reach because you're away from family. You can't go home. It's a grind. It's a mental grind. Do you want it or do you not want it? That's what it boils down to. So.
What town that you played in was sort of your favorite minor league town that you stayed in?
I love the Southern League because it's a lot like this weather. So I played in Huntsville, Alabama, but Birmingham, Alabama was a great ballpark, and that's actually Roberto played there too. So Birmingham, Alabama, great city, yeah, a good place.
Hey, can I jump in, Noah, and ask a quick question, Dana? So one of the things the Valley League tries to do is create and give players a chance to really see what life is like in the majors.
Sure.
And I guess I got a two-part question for you. One, did it do that for you? And then the other part of the question is, what advice would you give these young players who want to make it in the majors?
The first part of your question is, did it help me? In a way. Of course, I played here in my hometown, so I had hometown support. Slept in my own bed, lived in my own house. In that aspect, not really. But in the other aspect, playing the game every day and getting in that grind and having to be here at the ballpark every day in the heat, and yes, that prepared me. The second part of the question, my advice to the kids is what baseball is. If you want to get to the next level, if you want to sign a professional contract and work your way, it's sacrifice. You have to have sacrifice. You most definitely have to have love for the game because it's going to try to break you. It's going to test your will and how much you really want to be here and how much you want to play this game every day. So it's the Valley League, they call it the gateway to the majors. Well, if you have an inkling here that you're not sure, well, you're definitely not going to be sure there. It's a shuffling game. There's two ladders. I explain it this way. There's two ladders. There's one you're on. There's one everybody else is on. As long as you're competing and you're not injured, you'll keep climbing the ladder, and you'll stay ahead of everybody else. But as soon as you get in, as soon as you slip, in other words, have a bad outing or have an injury, there's hundreds going by you. Not one or two, but hundreds. Each major league team, probably in minor leagues, in minor league spring training alone, will have 300 to 400 guys.
Yeah.
And each major league team probably has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 6 minor league teams. So a 25-man roster, so do the math. There's a lot of people that go home in spring training. So it's like I say, it's the mental side that wears on it. But like my friend Roberto, he's one that's accomplished that 17 years and doing what he did. Wow, it's amazing.
Yeah, he stayed up there for quite a long time.
Absolutely. 1,000 games. Actually pitched in 1,000 games. I think he was the 11th player in history to do that. I mean, that's big.
I mean, it doesn't really, like, you're up there for one game or you're up there for 1,000 games. It really takes it takes a lot to get there.
It's a mountain. That's a mountain to climb. And like I say, if you have if you have that will and you want to be successful, it requires sacrifice, dedication, and it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster ride. It really is.
Well, let me ask you one more question, and I realize your answer is going to be a little bit biased, but is baseball the perfect game in the sense that it takes agility, it takes speed, it takes concentration? I mean, you could sit in not for a pitcher, but you can be an outfielder or an infielder and sit the whole game and do nothing.
Absolutely.
And if you lose your focus for 5 seconds,
absolutely.
you're going to be the GOAT. And I'm not talking greatest of all time for that game. Is it the perfect game?
You're right. I am biased. And for people that don't know the game, don't know the ins and outs and just a little things about the game, it can be a very boring sport. I'll be the first one to tell you. And as a player, you're exactly right. You have a mental lapse because you're not involved. You haven't been involved for 5 or 6 innings. Then all of a sudden the ball's hit to you. It's the perfect game. In my opinion, it is the perfect game because it not only requires the athletic ability, the speed, it also requires the thinking. In this game, there's a lot of time to think. I mean, like right now, you can think in between innings. In between pitches, you can think. Overthinking will get you in trouble. But as long as you keep it moving, you're good.
Yeah, that last inning, the Cardinals got the runner on first by the error, but left them there after a third strikeout to end the inning. But as you said, baseball is a real mental game, and one slip up, and as you said, there's 400 guys that want your one spot.
Well, we just had, just in sports alone, we just had one of the greats, in my opinion, that just passed away, Bill Buckner. But what's he remembered for?
An error.
The ground ball at first base. He's not remembered for the things that he is in some instances, but the majority of the people know him as the guy that made the error.
The first thing that comes to their mind is.
That's the first thing that comes to mind. Not his average, not what he did, not how long he played, not all these other things. That's the game. That one little instant, that one little lapse, that one little mishap, that's what you're remembered for. So it's a harsh game.
Yeah, it's not forgiving.
No, it's not. No, sir. A lot of athletes, and I don't know if Roberto will say the same thing, but a lot of athletes, you don't remember. You remember, but the things that stick out on your mind are the things that like, you get beat 1-0 in the bottom of the ninth as a pitcher, or you give up a home run that ended the game. Those are the things because you want that back. The things that you accomplish making the big leagues, pitching in the big leagues, yeah, you remember them. But as an athlete, you want those things back that you wish you could have changed or maybe done something different. Even though in this game, you can still make the perfect pitch, and he can still hit it out. And Roberto says the same thing. Every hitter is a failure. And that's the way you looked at it as a pitcher. Everybody I faced, you're a failure. Because if you get 3 out of 10 right on a test, what did you do?
Fail.
If you get 4 out of 10 right, you still fail, but you're in the Hall of Fame.
Right.
You're hitting 400. You're in the Hall of Fame. So that was one way I looked at hitters. I'm going to challenge you. I threw strikes. I wanted to throw strikes. And that was my mental approach. That if you're going to beat me, you're going to have to use that piece of wood in your hand to put bat to ball and beat me. I'm not going to walk you. You're going to beat me. So
Yeah, for you, was it hard when someone did beat you, like say they hit a home run off of you or they hit something, they hit a double off of you? Was it hard sort of to put that past you and just to try to reset and just get the next guy out?
yeah, but there again, there goes that mental aspect. You had to reset real quick. That short-term memory is what they called it. Move on to the next pitch. But when the game was over and you went back through the game in your mind, that was when you thought, well, and then you get with the catcher. Was the pitch good? Was it up? Did you hang it? You know as a pitcher if you hang it or not. And after the game is when you reminisce and you really want to get it back then. But in the moment, I'll be honest with you, when I was pitching, I couldn't tell there was anybody in the stands. I just didn't hear it. It was like you block it out. That movie For the Love of the Game, when he says clear the mechanism, and he's blocking everybody out, that's what you do. You don't hear but one voice, and that's your coach. Hecklers in the stands, people in the stands,
It all goes away.
tune them out. Yeah.
Well, here at the 1-1 count to McCann Mallet in the top of the third inning. 2 outs here for Harrisonburg. But so when you were playing in the big leagues, what was your favorite stadium that you got to go to?
Favorite stadium, Yankee Stadium. It was before the new Yankee Stadium was built. So I actually pitched in old Yankee Stadium. And to walk out of that dugout and onto that field and then to go out to the memorials, the monuments out there in left field it has put chills on me now. It just the Babe Ruths, the Mickey Mantles, the Lou Gehrigs, there they are. They played here. They were on this hallowed ground. Yeah.
That's sort of like as high as you can go stadium.
Absolutely. Yeah, that was, like I said, even pulling up to the ballpark on the bus or the cab or however you got there, you just started to feel it. And then when you went in the locker room, and the first thing as a young guy, new guy, I always went to the locker room to see where my locker was, and I always wanted to go which way is to the field. I wanted to go out on the field and when you walked out of the dugout and got to the top step in the old stadium, it just, I don't know, it's just like a ghostly feeling, just hallowed ground. It was awesome.
Is that something you tried to do when you were playing up there? Would just try to take it all in and just
Absolutely, yes. If you don't, you're crazy. But baseball has so much history, and if you don't take the time to soak in that history or understand it, you're missing out, because there's so many great things that have happened in the game of baseball that's built. Some of it's built. Our country built around it. So it's America's game. It's just a lot of rich history.
Yeah. So let's take it back for a second. When you got drafted, do you remember? Because draft day is coming tomorrow,
Right.
and all pretty much
Right.
this coming week. Where were you when you first got drafted the first time around?
The first time around, I was on the river with friends fishing.
Did you get a phone call? Or?
Well, of course, back then we didn't have cell phones.
Well,
So
a little before
I got
was
a
born.
Western Union telegram that stated that I was drafted by the Dodgers in the 8th round. And, the Dodgers scout came into town and we talked, and we were just apart on some things. And so I really liked my school, so I went back for my senior year, and then was drafted again by the A's. And again, instead of a Western Union gram, the scout actually showed up to the house, and so I was actually home when he showed up. So, but they were in contact with me through the whole process.
So you had a feeling that.
So either them or the White Sox. So, and the A's came calling first. So
The White Sox, you could end up with Roberto again.
could have, absolutely. Actually, in 1989, the year I was drafted, we met up in South Bend when he was with the White Sox, so in A-ball.
Hey, speaking of Roberto, quick question. What's it like watching Jose coming out here and seeing his son play?
That's awesome. That's awesome. Plus, Jose's going to Alberto School, USC Aiken. Actually, he was at Connecticut. And when Gilmore was here in '85 as an assistant, he was going to give Roberto an opportunity to pitch. So he came to USC Aiken, and look what happened. And then in '86, Gilmore was the head coach here, and we were all excited about Roberto being here in '86. But when he, starting tomorrow, when he got called in that first round, I mean, it was writing was on the wall. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's hard to turn down a first-round draft pick.
Huh?
It's hard to turn down a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Dana, thank you for joining us. It's great to have you.
You're very welcome.
You got a couple of fans behind you want to say hi.
Glad
Jack
to be
and
here.
Tyler.
Absolutely.
Love having you here.
Absolutely.
Thanks for coming on and joining us for a little bit.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Congratulations on the Hall of Fame induction. Man.
Thank you very much.
You make this area
I appreciate
proud.
it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And that was
I'm honored.
Dana Allison, one of 2 Hall of Fame inductees here tonight. Hopefully we can add more down the line.
Absolutely.
Get some more people with your name up there.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks, Dana.